Hello, this is Kat from cherryfairytale.com, and I'm going to show you how to make this Korean knot Norigae inspired by Rumi's Norigae from the movie K-pop Demon Hunters. I want to warn you ahead of time that this is really hard to learn. If you've never done any of these knots before, it is super challenging. So knowing that you're taking on a brand new skill and it's going to take a lot of practice, you can do it. But don't feel bad about going slow, taking your time, trying one thing at a time, and going back, pausing, trying it again. If you're doing it wrong, then you're doing it right, because you have to do it wrong to learn how to do it right. So, and I've made a bunch of these. I made plenty of mistakes even making this one, and I'll talk more about that as we go. But stick with it and you can accomplish this. So to make this, you can make it different ways and you can make it your own. You can do different combinations of knots and things. So I'm just going to show how to do this one. What you'll definitely need to make it though is some 2mm light purple satin cord. It's called satin cord, but it's actually made out of nylon. And I just ordered this on Amazon. You'll need 188 inches of it just to make one. And if you also would like to make the pink additional piece right here, what I used is a smaller cord. This is 1.5mm satin cord in pink, and I used about 50 inches to make this piece. And of course you will need scissors for cutting that and trimming the tassel, and then to measure a ruler or a tape measure. Oh, if you are doing this pink piece, I put some beads on it, so you'll need some pony beads or a large bead that has a hole big enough for 2 of the 1.5mm cord to pass through. And I also put a bell on mine. I got a pack of, I think it was 24 half-inch size gold tone bells on Amazon, and they didn't come with gold jump rings, so you'll also need one of those. This is the largest one in the pack that I have, so on the bigger side, just to make it easier. And to attach that, you will need a couple of jewelry pliers. Some other things that aren't necessary but are really handy to have are a threader. This is just from the dentist. This is like for flossing, but if you sew, you probably have a threader. And a gold tone safety pin to put on the top if you want to be able to attach it easily. And then the thing I really like, not necessary, but I love it, is a lacing needle, I think it's called. And I got this at Hobby Lobby in the paracord section. So this is really handy when you get to the second part of making this giant chrysanthemum knot in the middle, where you have to weave the cord through a bunch of times on the front and back. It's just really nice to have that. So once you have all of those, you are ready to begin. Find the center of your purple cord and bend it so that you have a little loop going to the left with your ends to the right. We're going to hold it maybe about an inch down to start with our X knot. Take the bottom cord and loop it around the back of the other cord, and take that same one and put it through from front to back. Pull it so you have a small loop down below, and pull right here on the left side to close it up on top. You can pull from the back to make it a little smaller, and then we're going to push it to the right like this. Now we're going to take the bottom cord again, which is our other one, and loop it behind that loop like this on the back, and take that same cord on the front and put it through both loops, front to back. And as we do that, If you let go, you can see there are 2 knots around each other, and now we're just going to carefully tighten those. And as we do, the X shape starts to form, and you'll have an X on the front and the back. So once it looks good, just pull on both sides until that is a nice tight little X shape. And that's the first knot. That's the easy one. Now we're going to do a whole bunch of clover knots. And to do a clover knot, we're going to turn it vertically. So for our first clover knot, we're going to take the left cord and loop it down and continue with it. Loop it again around that first one and pinch it in the middle so that it looks like a figure 8 or a infinity symbol, and your cord is going off to the left on that left cord. And hold it now in your left hand so you can work with the right cord. Make another loop, and now we're going to put it through our very first loop like this. And you can let go of it, it should stay, but try to not let it move too much. Now on this left side, we have the bottom part with our end and the top of this loop. We're gonna hold those together. And the loop we just made, we're gonna put it down over them. Try to keep the shape the same, kind of hard to hold on. And we're just gonna pull it up through that loop we put inside of this one so that you've got some arches going over that one. And with that loop we just made, take that end, the right cord side, and we're going to go from the back to the front underneath those loops. And as we do, this cord you're pulling, keep an eye on it. It's right here in the back. That's the one we're going to pull. We're going to pull that one on the right, and then we're going to pull this one that's on the bottom on the left until we see a square shape forming in the middle. So this is going to pop over here as we do. Watch it go to the right. And now we have a square in the middle. So keep pulling. You can pull the tails, you can pull the sides, and we don't want this gap here. So now we're going to turn it and look where the string is going. I can see it's going down in here, so I'm going to pull it down. And I can see it's going back up through the loop. So now I'm going to pull on the top of the loop here. So you just tighten, tighten, tighten. And once you get the square tight in the middle and at the top, now we can shrink down these loops on the sides. So I can see this loop is going through here and coming out here. So I'm going to pull the loop. I'm holding the knot with my left hand so it doesn't move at all. And then you can close it up by pulling the tail. So after you make the loop tiny, pull the tail so that it makes a nice tight shape, and then do the same with the other one, the other loop. Close. Oh, is that the right one? Sometimes you have to pull on the back side, or you can flip it over so it's on the top when you're pulling it. But just kind of tug a little and see where it moves, and then you'll know where to pull. And you can pull some more. And now we have a clover knot after our X knot. The next thing we're going to do is basically triple clover knot to kind of form that cross shape. So to do that, we're going to do more clover knots, but only with one string at a time. So we're going to do a clover knot on the left side and a clover knot on the right side. So we're going to go down a little ways from our first clover knot so that we have room to make one in the middle after we make a clover knot on each side. So make your loop. I'm going to go faster for that part because it's the same. And then once you have your first loops, you make a loop using that same cord and you put it through, pull up those two like we did before. Oops, just the two. I made mine a little small, so it's kind of hard to tell. And then take the same cord and put it through the back. Back to front, keeping an eye on it as you go. Grab hold of that cord to tighten it. This one can be a little trickier to pull because you don't have two sides that are different. So I'm going to tighten this up, but you can see it's another clover shape. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So now we have knots on both sides, and we're going to put them together with using them to put a knot in the middle, another clover knot. So to do that, take your left one, same technique, make a loop so that your left knot is hanging down here. And when we loop around that around it, it's gonna be sticking out here down below on the left side. And now take your other one, make a loop on that space between it and the last, well, the first clover knot we made. Put it through and grab those two. And as we do that, we're leaving this right clover knot on the right side hanging down. So when we take the right side to put it through the back for the last step, it's going to stay hanging out here on the right side. So put that end back to front. Keep an eye on that loop as you do. Keep it down below here on the outside, and then take your left one and pull that one as you pull this one on the right to form another clover knot. And again, we'll need to get that nice and tight. Once you have the middle knot tight and close to the top, now it's time to tighten it up on the sides, just like we did before with our two loops, only this is going to be trickier because we have to move the cord all the way through each of the side knots. So this is going to be the really challenging part, but if you hold on to it and go slow, you won't lose your place. So let's see. Okay. So we're going to start in the knot, starting at the top. So we're going to move this cord through the knot starting on this side because that's the one closest to the top. This is the bottom side over here. So follow the string with your eye where it goes. That means I need to pull right here, and I'm holding onto it tight with my left hand as I pull it so it's not going to move and come apart. Now follow it to the other side. Keep pulling that same one through. Okay, so I made it to the middle knot again. And now it's time to close that loop. I think it's twisted. Yep. It may twist a little, so just go slow. And you can fix it as you go. So that's what it looks like when it's in the right spot. And then just repeat with the other side to tighten up. Move this long piece that's near the top through the knot. And so once you have that middle knot tightened, you'll have 4 clover knots, and the last one in this section is easy again because it's just one by itself using both sides. So continue with that same technique, starting on the left and then taking your right cord. One last clover knot for this section. So once you have those 5 clover knots all done, we're going to start the really tough one, which is the big knot in the middle with the set of 5 clover knots on each side. So first we have to measure how much space we need for that big center knot, because we're going to create the knots on the side first. And if you have never done a chrysanthemum knot, I recommend going back to the bracelet video and looking at how that's made, because we're going to do it the same way, except it's bigger. But first we're just going to measure. So when we do make that chrysanthemum knot, we're going to hold it like this and then wrap our left cord around your fingers 4 times, and you want to keep them a little further apart than the chrysanthemum knot we did for the bracelet, because this is going to be much bigger. So once you have 4 loops, mark the spot right there. And you can mark this different ways, but I think the easiest is to just tie a knot. And you can go ahead and do that on the other side too, because it's going to be the same. But once you have those, you can start the next clover knot. So from the side where our knot is, that's where we're going to start. So come down just a little ways from this knot and make another clover knot. Using the 1 cord. And once you have that one, I'm going to tighten this, but we're going to do 2 more, so you'll have 3. And they need to be about, a little ways apart so that you can tie them together in the middle, just like we did before. So here's your marker knot, and then you should have 3 knots together, and now we're going to tie them together in another clover knot. So come down from your first one here and make the loop, and then bring it around so that your first knot is out to the left and your second one is down here on the bottom. Then take the cord after your second knot and make a loop with it, keeping the second one here on the bottom. Put it through that loop, grab the 2 on the left, and then when you take this one, you will leave your third knot sticking out on the right. Going back to front, and then pulling to make your middle knot all together. And when you tighten it, you can pull, this is your first one you made, you can pull it close to that middle one we just did, and then you don't have to work the cord through. But now we're going to go here and we're going to work it all the way through so that these are all close together. So start pulling that one, and this part is really not very fun, but you will pull it through all the knots. And we're going to repeat this again later. So once you have those 4 knots together, don't forget to do your final knot. That will make 5 together. And this is a good time to take out your little marker knot, as long as you remember to start on that side, as always. So one more clover knot, starting on the left where your knot is over there. It's the one we started with, and make another clover knot. So when you are ready to move on to the giant chrysanthemum knot in the middle, you'll have 3 sets of the clover knots that are in sets of 5. So there's 4 on the outside and 1 in the middle of each. So make sure you have that first, because I have done the whole huge knot a couple times with not realizing I didn't have those done. So you don't want to do that. So again, we're going to do the same thing we did before when we measured, which is take this first one we did and put it between the fingers on your right hand, so it's coming toward you underneath these fingers, and take your left cord and, keeping your fingers pretty wide, loop it around 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, so that this one, when you move it over to your left hand like this, try really hard to keep them in order, goes underneath your fingers and just kind of hangs out in the back. And then this one we started with comes underneath your fingers too to complete this loop, and comes out to the front underneath your fingers. So it looks like that. And try really hard to make sure these don't move anywhere. They will move around, but just try to keep them in order. And we're going to take our other right side one that has the other knot on it, and we're going to make a really big loop by crossing over itself like this. So this is going to the back, and we're going to take, it's a really, really big loop like this. So we're going to take the top of this giant loop, keep these nice and together, and we're going to take the top of it, loop it around the front and the back. And trying to keep it in place, it can be tricky, but flip this away from you so you make another loop. You make another loop again with the same big piece, and that's just going to hang here for a minute. And that's this cord. It's hanging out back here. So over here, way over here on this side, which is connected, this is our end connected to this other knot. We're going to take that and go underneath these 4 loops, left to right. And then the next step is going underneath that back cord. Then we're going to go under, you can kind of hold it close so it doesn't move, through this loop that we made in front, and then back through the 4 loops from the other side, right to left. And that is the set we're going to repeat 3 more times. So to start it again, I'm going to move my thumb here to hold these in place. We'll open up this one toward us like this, grab the back of it, which is the top of the loop, loop it front around the 4 loops and back around the back of them, twist it away from you. This gets tricky to hold. I can kind of hold it with my thumb here. You can figure out which way works for you. Then take your left back cord underneath those 4 loops, underneath the other end, through this big loop, and then back through the 4. So that's 2 more times. Open this up again toward you, taking the back, looping it around the 4. You can kind of adjust how you're holding it as you go with your left hand. Loop it around the back, twist it away from you. I'm going to move my fingers over here so it doesn't move. Take your back left cord underneath the 4 loops, under the back end, through the loop from back to front, back through the 4. That's 3. So 1 more time and we'll have our 4. Open it toward you. Take the back of the loop, loop it around the 4, then twist it away. Take that back one underneath the loops, under that back cord. This fell down, so I'm going to put it back. Through the loop and back through the 4. It got caught, so I'm going to move it. Okay, and be gentle with it, but that is your setup. If you kind of turn it to the right, you'll have 4 loops going horizontally, and you can kind of adjust those so they're not starting to come out of order. They have to stay just like this. So we've got this one we just put through that's going up through those 4 loops on the end, and now we have this one coming out the right side. That's the one we're going to work with. If you are using the lacing needle, you can use a lighter and just make the end hard, and then you can twist it on like that, and then you have a nice way to weave this in. So you don't have to do that. You can just weave it in with your fingers. It's just a little harder without it. Keep your finger in the middle of the setup with your left hand, and this cord coming out the top, we're going to go underneath that first. We're going to go over, well, above our first loop here and underneath that one coming out the top, and we're just going to weave it all the way through. So we're going to go under first. It's always under first on this side, and then over, under, over, under, over, under, and over that last one. It just kind of sits on top of it, and then carefully flip it over so that you still have these 4 loops going horizontally, and we still have the cord on the right. So we're going to continue, except on this side, on the second side, which I'll call the back side, we need to go through the second loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's our second one. We're going to go down through that one first, and then we'll always do that extra step when we get to the back side. And instead of going under first, we're going to go over on the back side. So over this one, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay, and that was our first one. So now we have to keep following this to the other side. Now we're going to go above our second loop, which is this one. So you can kind of push it down if it's, these are usually going to stay pretty tight together. So you'll want to kind of just poke between those, go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and then the last one just kind of hangs over, turn. Since we're on the back side now, we're going to pull out the one we need to go through first, which is the third one. So this is 2, 3, 4. This is 3. So go down through number 3. And remember, we're on the back side, so we go over first. If you ever don't know, look what's happening. This is going over these, so since it's over, we're going over it. Over, under, over, under, over. And they do move around, so try to go slow and careful, but you can adjust them. Under, over, under. Oops. And then back to our front side again. There's just one more to do here, so we're going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, well, I already went over, under, oops, over, flip it over, and this is our last side of the last set. Pull out this last 4th loop. If you can't see it sticking out, go down through it. Now we'll go over, under, and try to make sure you're not picking up any other strings as you weave through here. Over, under, oops, over, under, over, under. And as we do this last one, you see we're right where our other end is coming out, and so this end comes out right next to that, and that's how you know you're done. So you can take that off. and turn it so your tails are on the bottom. And now we have to figure out, looks like this kind of fell on the inside, so you can pull this out gently, carefully if that happened. So here's our top and our sides. I've got an extra big piece here. So if we look at the final setup, we have 1, 2, 3 loops down the first side, then our big knot, and then we have 1, 2, 3 down the other side on both sides. So we're looking for 3 loops to pull here on each side. So I like to start, you can kind of figure out what works for you, but you can kind of tug these a little to see what they pull. Because these, when you pull the tails, the top part of it, so this tail right here, the top part of it, that is not a loop. So your loops are going to be sticking out above those. So here's one. You can see here on this side, these are sticking out, so those are pretty easy to see. You can tug those a little bit. 2, 3. And here, 1, 2, 3. And you can tell they are loops when, so I just pulled this one last. This one goes up to, well, this one goes up to here and it makes a turn. So that's how you know this one is not a loop, because I'm pulling this here. So it only loops on one side of wherever it's coming from, if that makes sense. So kind of tug, tug, tug. Just go slow and careful. Sometimes I tug the wrong ones. That's okay. You can still go back, and when you're tugging the right ones, you can see the shape forming, the big grid. If something looks off, maybe tug a little bit and see which one is working right. So I can tell, so this one comes down from the top. I'm going to follow it. Let's see. Goes here, turns here, and comes up here. So if I follow it all the way from the top, turn, come up, I can tell this is a loop, which that's really hard to tell right here. So you just kind of gotta pull and see. I do like working on this side for some reason. So just keep tugging. We're gonna form a tight grid in the middle, and then once we have that, we'll tighten some more. But first we gotta get that middle part. Okay, I am skipping forward now, but this took quite a while, especially because sometimes when these 2 knotted sides get really long here, they can kind of get twisted and mixed up. They're in the right spot, but they can look not quite right. So when you're tightening, look to see the cord that's coming out of the corner here and the cord that's coming out of the corner below it that connect to the knot, so that you can know those connect there on both sides. So this one connects here and here at the corners. So once you have this tight structure in the middle, we're going to start tightening everything starting from the top down. So pick a side, and I'm going to do the left. We'll pull this first cord right here, because you can see it goes down to here and turns. We're going to pull it right here. So this will be tight to the top. Then we're going to pull this side of this loop. Then we're going to pull the next one, which is here, and this will come out and get longer. Then we're going to pull right here because it's the top of this one until we get to the side knot. So just take your time. And here's where you can use an awl if you have one. I don't like to use them because they are very sharp. Sometimes they can snag the cord. So if you use one of those, just be really careful. Okay, so I just tightened the top one, so now this knot is down close. So follow this top cord down the other side to here. This part can be really tough to do, so just work it slowly. And now we're going to form the first little loop on the edge. So decide how big you want your loop to be. I'm just going to do a little itty bitty loop, just like that. And then pull your second loop at the top side to close it up on the other side right here. So it's nice and tight. Okay, so now this one's way too big, following it from the top down, right here, pulling again. We just pull each one on the opposite side. So watch as the loop on top gets smaller. And once it's the size you like, pull the next one. Can twist, so try to not let it twist as you pull, because then it can get really tight and twisted. Pull it slowly. I have given myself little burns before pulling too fast, if your finger is touching it when you pull it. And now we are to the knot, so pulling that out, and it's going to get really big. And now that we have done this side, we're ready to move this whole long part all the way through, unfortunately, all 5 of these knots. So make sure you have the time to do it when you start this, because it's really hard to get in the middle of it and then pick it up again, I think. So make sure you can stick with it. And remember that, you know, you can turn this over if you need to pull when it's easier to see. And always make sure you're working from the top down. So that would mean, okay, I'm getting really twisted here, 1 second. Okay, so maybe pull all this to the side so it's not in your way. And I want to make sure I'm pulling this one. So I'm going to find where it enters the knot, and I'm just going to start pulling, and we're going to pull this all the way until it touches the middle, so it's nice and tight. So right here, and we just pulled here, so now we want to pull the other side of it. Let's look and see where it's going. Sometimes it helps to turn it over. You can tug a little bit to make sure it stays really tight. Pull that through. Now where is it going? You'll just have to kind of see. I'm already confused. There we go. Okay, I already pulled that one. So continuing, here we are. It's going to make a little turn right here. Pull this out. And we're just going to work through each knot one at a time. So it's a slow, long process. Just keep going all the way around. Make sure that when you pull it, it's not grabbing other things as you go. So once you have this side knot all tightened and close to this middle part, you'll end up with this big end here going back into the center, and we're going to pull that shorter and continue making the loops smaller down the side. Now, once you have your knots close to that big middle part, pull the top of your first loop out. Now we've got this huge loop that we want to close up, so pull on the other lower side of it right here. And then your next top side of your loop. Then from the other side, the lower part of the loop. And your last loop on this side. And the lower side of the last loop. Don't pull too fast, it starts twisting, because I think I did that a little too quick. And then your very long tail at the end. And that is one side done. So we're just going to repeat on the other side. Start by pulling your 3 loops down the side until you get to your knot, and work the cord all the way through each of the knots and then down. Once you've finished the knots on both sides, get them all tightened through and go down the last sides. It looks like this. So excellent job if you made it this far. If you didn't and you're looking at this now thinking, oh, it's so easy for you, it looks so perfect. No. I have made quite a few of these now, and despite that, I still completely messed up, and I just redid this, and this completely because I forgot to check the second time I made one of these that I was doing the correct side first. So that happens. It's okay. Mess ups happen. So the last thing to do after this part is another clover knot, just like we did on the top. We're going to repeat the same thing that we did on top, where we make one, then just one on each side, then put them together, and then one last one. And here's our last clover knot.
What's a clover knot?
This one. All of these are clover knots. Does it look like a clover to you? All right, and turn it to the side and do one last, well, for now, X knot. And now we're ready to move on to making the tassel. You can certainly buy a tassel, but I like to make it out of the same cord because we can use our extra we have now anyway, and it'll match perfectly. So we need to make a little opening to put that into. So come down just a little ways from that X knot, and we're going to make one more X knot. So to make the tassel pieces, I'm going to cut 6. We already have 2 hanging down here. So you can just go down and don't cut off too much, but start doing a few pieces. I'm gonna do, this will be folded, you know, like this, it'll hang down. So do double the length of the tassel you want, plus a little extra so you can trim it at the end. I'm gonna cut 8.5 inches for my pieces. And you can get probably at least 2 cut off of the one we were working on. See if I can do 3. I don't think I can. Well, yeah, I can. Just be careful that you don't cut off too much. You can make your tassels whatever length you like. They are pretty long in the movie. And I'm going to use a threader, but just stick it through your opening below your big knot and gather all your pieces together and pull it through. If it's really tight, that's good. Mine might be too tight though. Okay. So once you have those in there, you want to kind of pull them down evenly. Line up your ends. And then we're going to take a longer piece, maybe about 15 inches long, And you're gonna kind of pinch here below your knot that's inside. And I'll show you how to do a hidden knot. So first make a loop. Let's see, put it on top so it's hanging down kind of low. And you make a loop like this. And then take your remaining piece and we're going to wrap it around 4 times. You could probably do a little more, but since this is pretty thick, I think that will be just about the right amount. 1, 2, 3. No, that's 4. So once you have 4, put it through the loop. I think this is the one I pull, is it? No, it's not. So this one, there we go. So keep track of where you left your piece and then pull it down through underneath there. And you can pull both sides to get it really, really tight. This is not going to move anywhere. It's really secure. You can push the whole thing up to make it really tight. And you can just leave that end down here to trim off with the others. And then this one, I think there's different ways to do it, but what I usually do is I poke this in with something. The awl would be a good tool for this. I don't know if this one would work, or maybe like a fingernail file or something, and just kind of hide it to the inside. And once you poke it in there hidden, you can just trim it, because it's too hard to try and pull this through down again. So you can just cut that off. Make sure it's hidden inside, not coming out the other side. You can kind of push around. You can also adjust these one at a time. Just take your time so it looks good. Until you have a nice tight top. And then I usually just find whatever is my shortest one down here, and then I just trim all the others. And you don't need to seal the ends, they can just stay nice and soft. And just go slow so you don't cut off too much. And then you have your nice tassel hanging down. So you can just leave it like this and be done, or you can add even more to it. I added 2 of the things that are hanging on Rumi's Norigae, and I didn't do the big metal circle at the top or the beaded flower thing that's hanging down, but I did do the bell and this knotted pink piece with beads. So if you want to make this pink piece, I'll show you how to do that. Find your center point and come down a little ways so that we can have a loop to attach it later, and make an X knot. And once you've made your X knot, since the cord is smaller, it should be pretty easy to put a bead on through both ends. And close to that bead, make another X knot. Once you've done the next X knot, we're going to do another chrysanthemum knot, only much smaller than the big one we did. So instead of looping around your fingers 4 times, we're just going to do it twice. And that means when you do the weaving part at the end, you only have to do front and back, and that's it. So same setup as before, 2 loops. This piece goes to the back, your right side is still out. Make a loop, wrap it around the front and the back, twist away from you, take the left cord, go through the 2 loops, under the back one, through the front loop, then back through the 2. And one more time, open it toward you, twist. Well, you don't really have to twist, you just pull the top part around the 2 loops. Keep your finger in there to hold it in place. Loop it around the back, twist away from you. Take the left cord under the 2 loops, under the back cord, through that front loop, back through the 2 loops, and then leaving this one we just did up here, take the right one, and we're going to go under, over, under, over. And you don't need your threader because, or your lacing needle, because this is really small cord. Okay, and on the back side, don't forget to go down through that upper loop. Now we're going over, under, over, under. Kind of miss my needle. Okay, and now with this smaller one, we're looking for 3 loops on each side. So kind of hard to tell. Just kind of tug a little bit. Tug the tails down. That kind of helps these pop out. And pull a nice tight square in the middle. Go nice and slow. And now we're going to tighten the loops. So once you have that first chrysanthemum knot, make another X knot. And then another bead. And another X knot. Then chrysanthemum knot, then X knot. So you have a total of 3 chrysanthemum knots and 3 beads. I kind of wonder if in the movie it represents the 3 girls of Huntrix. So after this last knot, which is the X knot, and you have your 3 beads and your 3 chrysanthemum knots, I'm gonna attach it on here. You can put it where you like, but just find a loop where you would like it to hang. Some people put it like right down the middle. I don't like to cover this up, so I'm going to put mine more to the side on the last loop right before the side set over here. If you have a threader, it's handy to use it here again. And then pull the ends through it. Hopefully you have enough room to get the whole thing through. If it's a little tight, don't panic, just go slow and work it through. Or you could always use another jump ring to attach that on. And once I see about how long it's hanging, I like to cut it about the same length as the tassel. So just go ahead and drop that. And that is added on. So if you don't have a gold jump ring on your bell, get one of those and attach that on. This is where you'll use your jewelry pliers, and then whatever side this dangle is on, I put this on the other side right above the tassel. It kind of hangs down low, and just be gentle with it because the edges are sharp and they can pull your cord. So once you get that on there, close it up. And you can also add like a gold safety pin on top so it's easy to attach. And there you have it. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe, and visit cherryfairytale.com for even more. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.